The stars stretched in every direction, endless and bright. But the maps of the galaxy always carried a strange silence in one place. There was a region marked in red lines, a border that no one dared to cross. This was human space. The galaxy was wide and full of species, each with their own worlds, cultures, and histories. Trade routes connected one end of the spiral arm to the other. Great councils were built to solve disputes and avoid wars. Science was shared, treaties were signed, and ships moved back and forth across sectors. Yet, when the routes reached the edge of human space, they stopped. No map showed what was beyond. No report ever explained what might be inside. It was as if a curtain of shadow hung there, and every starship turned away before stepping across. Young species often asked why. To them, the idea of a border that was never crossed seemed impossible. Explorers by nature, they wanted answers. If the humans are like us, why do they hide? They asked. Why not open their skies like the rest of us? Their voices were curious, but also restless. The universe was too large to accept silence without reason. Older species, however, shook their heads. Some of them had lived through wars before the Council existed. They had seen the rise and fall of empires, the burning of fleets, and the loss of entire colonies. When asked about human space, their eyes would grow distant. They would only say one thing: do not demand answers. You will not like what follows. The mystery gave birth to countless rumors. Some said the humans were weak and afraid, hiding behind borders because they had nothing worth showing. Others whispered that humans were not weak at all, but so strong that even the oldest species could not face them. There were tales of fleets swallowed in silence, ships that crossed the line and never returned. Of course, no proof was ever given. The galaxy loved stories, and legends grew fast when facts were scarce. In truth, most species had never seen a human up close. Human envoys rarely visited the council, and when they did, they spoke little. They were polite, but distant. They offered fair trade and shared a few technologies, enough to keep relations smooth, but never enough to reveal their full strength. Their ships always appeared sleek but unassuming. Their diplomats always calm but unreadable. When asked about the border, their answer was always the same: our space is our own. Nothing more. This silence only deepened the sense of unease. In a galaxy full of questions, humans alone refused to give explanations. The Council recorded this fact, debated it many times, and eventually stopped trying. Every attempt ended the same way, with silence from humans and warnings from older races. Over time, silence became the law. Still, the mystery called to some. It pulled at explorers who dreamed of seeing what no one else had seen. It whispered to rulers who wanted to know if humanity was truly strong or simply a myth built by fear. And it unsettled younger races who felt that answers were their right. Why should one species alone hold secrets when the rest of the galaxy shared so much? On the border itself, there were stations built to watch. Alien ships often floated nearby, scanning, studying, and waiting. They looked for patterns in human movements, counted the ships that came and went, and measured the strange silence that filled the void. But no matter how long they watched, no weakness was found. Human ships slipped in and out without warning, appearing when they wished and vanishing just as quickly. No one knew how many there were, or how far they could travel. Sometimes, an alien scout ship would drift a little too close, driven by curiosity or pride. In those moments, the silence would break. A single human vessel would appear, dark and silent, blocking the way. No threats were spoken, no weapons fired, yet every scout turned back. There was something in the sight of those ships, something in the cold watchfulness of their design, that froze every intruder before they dared to move farther. The border was not marked by walls or weapons. but by understanding. The galaxy simply knew where it ended. No council edict was needed. No treaties were signed. The line existed because it had to. And every species, whether curious or cautious, obeyed. Question remained, though. Why? Why did the humans keep their skies closed? Why did they guard their stars so carefully when others shared theirs so freely? What waited beyond that line, hidden from the galaxy's gaze? No one dared to say it aloud, but the thought lingered. In every council chamber, every watch station, and every curious heart, the border was not just a line on a map. It was a warning, a whisper, and a mystery older than most civilizations could remember. And though the galaxy had learned not to ask, the silence itself was an answer, one that made many uneasy. For now, the line held. No one crossed, but all knew the day would come when someone somewhere would test it again. And when that day arrived, the galaxy would finally learn why the borders stopped at human space. The Great Council Chamber was a vast hall that floated at the center of neutral space. Its domed ceiling shone with shifting lights, meant to remind all who gathered there that the galaxy was shared among many. Hundreds of seats curved around the chamber, each belonging to a species that held voice in the council. It was here that treaties were signed, disputes settled, and questions asked. On this day, the chamber was louder than usual. Voices overlapped, tones rose and fell, and the air carried a restless energy. The subject was the same one that had haunted the council for centuries: human space. Representatives of younger species were the loudest. They were explorers at heart, filled with ambition and curiosity. To them, mystery was a challenge, and silence was a wound to their pride. Their spokesperson, a tall being with bright eyes named Seller, spoke with passion. "Why do we allow this silence?" Seller demanded. "Why do we, who share knowledge and keep peace across the stars, permit one people to hide behind closed skies? The humans give us trade in small amounts. They speak politely, yet never reveal more. They hold a border none may cross, and we bow to it without reason. This is not unity. This is not trust. We deserve answers." Others nodded in agreement. Murmurs rose from many corners of the chamber. Curiosity was natural, and Seller's words touched something restless in them all. Why should one species stand apart? Why should they all live in mystery while one kept its secrets safe? But not every voice was eager. From the far seats of the chamber came the deep tones of older species, those whose civilizations had endured long ages. They had seen what ambition could cause. Their words carried weight, and when they spoke, the hall grew still. A representative of the Tar, a people older than most stars around them, leaned forward. "You do not understand what you are asking," the Tar elder said. "We have lived long enough to see what happens when the border is ignored. Do not be foolish. The humans guard their space for reasons of their own. We advise you not to press them." Seller turned, unafraid. "You speak in warnings, but never in detail. What reason could be so great that it silences an entire galaxy? If you know, then tell us. If you do not, then why should we obey?" The elder did not answer at once. Instead, a heavy silence filled the chamber. Those who had lived long and seen much exchanged quiet looks. Some lowered their heads as if recalling memories they wished to forget. Finally, the elder said only this: "We will not tell you. Some knowledge is heavier than ignorance. If you are wise, you will not try to lift it." The words did not satisfy. They stirred the younger races even more, for nothing feeds curiosity like unanswered warnings. Whispers moved through the crowd. Was it fear that silenced the older ones? Was it shame? Or was it something far darker? From the central seat of the chamber, the speaker of the council rose. The speaker was chosen not by strength or age, but by trust, and their role was to guide when voices grew loud. "This matter has been debated many times," the speaker said calmly. Always the answer is the same. The humans give no explanation, and the galaxy accepts. We must ask ourselves, do we seek knowledge for wisdom, or do we seek it for pride? Seller's voice rose again. Knowledge is not pride. Knowledge is survival. If the humans keep secrets of such scale, they may one day use them against us. Should we wait until that day arrives? Should we stay blind because we are told to? The chamber rippled with unrest. Some agreed, some argued back, and others stayed silent. The tension was clear. The border of human space was more than a line. On a map, it was a wound that divided the galaxy between those who wished to know and those who wished not to. Finally, an envoy of humanity itself, seated quietly at the edge of the hall, stood. The chamber froze, for humans rarely spoke at council gatherings. The envoy was tall, dressed in simple dark cloth, and their face was calm. When they began to speak, their voice was steady but carried across the hall with ease. "Our borders are the envoy said. "They are not walls meant to harm you, nor chains meant to bind you. They are lines of choice. We respect yours. Respect ours." Seller tried to press further. "Why do you keep secrets?" "Why do? You hide what lies beyond." The envoy's eyes swept the chamber, meeting the gaze of elder and youth alike. Then they answered with only one sentence, "Because you are not ready to know." A wave of silence followed. No one spoke. Even Seller found no words. The envoy bowed slightly, then sat again, offering nothing more. The debate ended not by decision, but by the weight of those words. Yet the fire was not put out. In the hearts of many, it burned stronger. What could be so great that the humans believed no one else ready to face it? And though the council returned to its routine, whispers of human space spread faster than before. Some grew afraid, others became more determined, and a few began to plan. For curiosity is not so easily silenced. Long before the council became strong, before trade routes tied the galaxy together, there had been an attempt to break the silence of human space. It was not spoken of openly anymore, but the memory of it lingered like a shadow. It was the story of the last expedition. The expedition had been organized by a powerful coalition of younger races, guided by the bold dream of discovery. They believed that humans were only hiding weakness. To them, human space was not a place of danger, but of secrets waiting to be uncovered. They wanted to expose those secrets, take what was hidden, and show the galaxy that no border should remain closed. The coalition prepared carefully. Fleets were gathered, ships equipped with the newest technology of the time. Scouts, scientists, and warriors all joined, eager to return with knowledge that would make their names eternal. Leaders of the coalition stood before their people and promised that history would remember them as pioneers who had unlocked the last mystery of the stars. When the fleets crossed the border, the galaxy waited. At first there was silence, then scattered reports of progress. The explorers described empty systems filled with quiet stars. They spoke of abandoned worlds with no life, no ruins, and no signs of human presence. It seemed peaceful, perhaps too peaceful. Yet the coalition believed this was proof of weakness. "Look," they said, "there is nothing to fear." But then the report stopped. No more messages came. No signals, no data, not even a cry for help. Ship after ship vanished. Entire fleets swallowed without sound. The border closed again, and the galaxy was left waiting. When weeks became months, the truth became clear. The expedition had failed. No vessel returned. Not one crew member was seen again. Families were left without answers, and whole races were shaken by the loss. The coalition broke apart, consumed by blame and grief. Some accused the humans of destroying the fleets. Others said the fleets had simply gone too far and lost their way. A few whispered of something darker, a force within human space that erased all who entered. What gave the story even more weight was the response of the humans themselves. They said nothing. No message came to explain. No envoy appeared to offer reasons. When asked, they only gave the same reply as always. Our space is our own. They neither claimed responsibility nor denied it. They left the galaxy to wonder. And wonder they did. For younger races, the story was a challenge, a puzzle unsolved. For older ones, it was proof enough. They remembered well the day the fleets vanished, and they had no wish to repeat that mistake. Whenever someone suggested pressing into human space again, the elders shook their heads. Do not forget last expedition, they warned. We lost them all. That is all the proof we need. Generations passed and the story became a legend. But legends have power. Children of many worlds grew up hearing the tale told in whispers. Explorers dreamed of succeeding where the coalition had failed. Ambitious leaders promised that one day someone would break the silence and return with answers. Still, none dared. The shadow of the last expedition was too strong. The thought of so many ships, so many lives, simply vanishing in silence was enough to hold back even the most restless minds. At the border, where watch stations floated and scouts observed, reminders of the expedition lingered. From time to time, fragments of old ships appeared, drifting at the edge of human space. Burned hulls, broken engines, nameless wreckage. Some believed these were from the lost fleets, carried back by unknown means as warnings. Others argued they were placed there by humans on purpose, to remind the galaxy what happened when the line was crossed. The Council never confirmed these claims. In fact, they avoided speaking of the expedition at all. Records of it grew thin, and official archives listed it only as a lost venture. The older species kept their silence, the younger ones kept their questions, and the humans remained as quiet as ever. But silence cannot erase memory. The last expedition became more than a story of failure. It became a symbol of fear and curiosity bound together. Fear, because no one wanted to share the fate of the vanished fleets. Curiosity, because mysteries are never truly forgotten. And, though centuries had passed, there were still whispers. Whispers that some knowledge was worth any risk. Whispers that the truth of human space was waiting, hidden in the dark, for those bold enough to claim it. The galaxy remembered the last expedition not only as a warning, but as a challenge. A challenge that still pulled at the hearts of the brave and the foolish alike. And somewhere, beyond the silence, the humans watched, waiting for the day someone would try again. The border of human space was usually quiet. Alien stations drifted nearby, watching and waiting, while patrol ships from other races made slow circles. No one crossed the line, not since the last expedition. The silence had become normal, a kaigzi, part of life. But one day, that silence was broken. A small vessel, damaged and failing, stumbled across the invisible line. It was a transport ship belonging to a minor species, carrying a handful of crew. They had been caught in a storm of asteroids, their engines torn apart, their shields burned down. With no control, the vessel drifted straight into human space. On the watching stations, alarms rang out. Crews stared at their screens, voices filled with panic. They had all been told the same rule since childhood: never cross into human space. And yet, before their eyes, a ship had done just that. The transport ship vanished from their scanners as it slipped deeper into the forbidden zone. No signal came out, no call for help. For those who watched, it felt as if the ship had been swallowed by the void. Many expected it would never return. Days passed, and tension grew. Rumors spread across the stations, then across the council worlds. Some said the humans had destroyed the ship. Others whispered that the crew was being held. Their minds opened. by strange machines. The fear of the last expedition returned, fresh and sharp. The council prepared for conflict, worried that the incident would spark a crisis. But then, on the fifth day, something unexpected happened. The transport ship reappeared. It drifted back across the border, fully repaired. Its hull was whole, its engines strong, its lights shining bright. Escorting, it was a single human vessel, dark and silent, gliding like a shadow. When the transport reached safe space, the human ship turned without a word and slipped back into the border, vanishing once more. The crew of the transport was alive. More than alive, they were unharmed. They had food, water, and supplies far greater than what they had left with. Their vessel carried upgrades none of them understood, systems that hummed with quiet power. To the galaxy, it was a miracle. But when the council asked them to speak of what they had seen, the crew refused. At first the council thought they were afraid. But their voices did not shake, and their eyes held a strange weight. They simply said, "We cannot tell you." Seller, the same voice that had demanded answers in the council chamber, pushed them again. "Did the humans threaten you?" Seller asked. "Did they forbid you to speak?" The crew shook their heads. "No threats were made," they replied. "No warnings, no demands. We were treated with respect. But we cannot tell you what we saw." Others pressed harder. Some offered rewards, others pleaded for even a fragment of detail. But the answer never changed. "We cannot tell you." Their silence unsettled the council even more than fear would have. If they had spoken of weapons, the council could prepare. If they had spoken of kindness, the council could relax. But their refusal carried a different weight, something far deeper. The younger species grew restless again. "This is proof," they said. "The humans are hiding something vast." They repaired a ship, gave it gifts, and returned it without cost. Why would they do this? What did they gain? The older species lowered their voices and reminded the council of the last expedition. "Be grateful," they said. "A ship returned. That is rare. Do not ask for more." But the questions would not stop. In marketplaces across the stars, in academies and stations, the story spread. People whispered of hidden cities, of machines beyond imagination, of knowledge older than the galaxy itself. Some claimed the crew had been changed, their silence the result of something placed in their minds. Others claimed the crew had seen something so great that no words could describe it. The humans gave no explanation. Their envoys in the council chamber stood as calm as ever. When asked, they only said, "We helped as we chose to, nothing more." Nothing more and nothing less. For a time, the galaxy debated and argued, but no truth came. The transport ship sailed on, carrying its silent crew and its upgraded systems. The mystery only deepened. The humans had acted with kindness, but their kindness raised more fear than hostility ever could, because now the galaxy understood something it had not before. Humans did not only guard their border with silence, they also had the power to cross it, to reach out and shape others in ways no one could explain. The border was not just a line of defense. It was a choice humans allowed themselves, but denied to everyone else. And though the crew of the transport remained silent, the eyes of the galaxy turned once more to human space, filled with questions no one could answer. The silence around the border grew heavier than ever, for silence after kindness is far harder to understand than silence after fear. The return of the transport ship sent waves across the galaxy. At first, there was relief. A vessel had crossed into human space and come back alive. No destruction, no vanished fleet, no new tragedy like the last expedition. For a brief moment, some thought this might mean the humans were less dangerous than the legends claimed, but relief soon turned to unease. The more people spoke of it, the stranger the story became. A ship repaired, upgraded, and escorted safely home by a silent human vessel. It was an act of mercy, yet the silence of the rescued crew unsettled everyone. They had been treated with care, but they refused to speak of what they had seen. They would not answer the simplest questions. No amount of pressure could break their silence, and so, where truth was absent, rumors filled the void dot in the markets of the younger species. Merchants whispered that the humans had technology capable of miracles. Some said the transport crew had been shown machines that could rebuild matter itself, turning broken metal into shining new hulls. Others claimed the humans possessed healing devices that could mend the body in minutes, making injury and sickness a thing of the past. On military stations, the rumors turned darker. Officers told one another that the silence of the crew was proof they had been altered. What if their minds were touched? They asked. What if the humans placed something in them, something we cannot see? The thought spread quickly among soldiers and commanders. If the humans could change minds without leaving a trace, then no defense was safe. Among scholars, the theories were even more wild. Some believed the humans had uncovered relics of an ancient power, older than the council itself. Others argued that humans were not hiding their weakness, but rather protecting the galaxy from something too great to be revealed. Perhaps they are guardians, one scholar suggested. Perhaps what lies within their space is not theirs at all, but something they keep sealed for our sake. Everywhere, questions grew louder. Why had the humans chosen to help? Why had they returned the crew instead of keeping them? What truth was so heavy that the crew could not share it? The younger species became restless once more. To them, the silence was an insult. Cellar, their fiery voice in the council, repeated the same challenge. If the humans have such power, then they are selfish for hiding it. If they guard great secrets, then they place the galaxy in danger by keeping them locked away. Should one species alone decide the fate of all? But the older species answered only with weary silence. The memory of the last expedition was enough for them. They had no wish to test the humans further. When pressed, they only said, "Be thankful the transport returned." Still, silence did not calm the galaxy. Instead, it sharpened curiosity into suspicion. Fleets were ordered closer to the border. Scanners pointed at human space more than ever before. In academies, young scientists worked day and night to predict what kind of technology could rebuild a ship so quickly. In hidden corners, governments debated whether to send spies or scouts to force the truth. The humans, as always, said nothing. Their envoys in the council chambers listened politely, offered quiet trade, and left as they always did. When asked about the transport, they gave no detail. They did not deny repairing the ship, but they gave no explanation for the silence of its crew. Their calm answers only added fuel to the fire. For a time, the galaxy seemed divided. On one side were the curious, the ambitious, the impatient voices calling for boldness, for breaking the border once more. On the other side were the cautious, the careful, the fearful, those who remembered what had happened the last time. Boldness had been chosen, but both sides agreed on one thing. The humans were not weak. The repair of the transport had proven that no one else in the galaxy could take a ruined vessel and return it in days with new systems beyond understanding. Whatever else the humans were hiding, they had revealed at least this much. Their silence was not the silence of weakness. This realization spread through every corner of the stars. Traders lowered their voices when speaking of humans. Soldiers grew uneasy when posting near the border. Children of many worlds asked questions their parents could not answer. And in the hearts of rulers, curiosity twisted into something more dangerous. Fear. For fear and curiosity often walked together. The council tried to calm the unrest, but the chamber itself was filled with argument. Some demanded that humanity be forced to reveal its secrets. Others warned that such demands would lead only to disaster. The debate grew sharper with every passing day, but no resolution came. The humans never raised their voices, and that silence was louder than any speech. In time, a new rumor began to spread, one that carried more weight than the rest. It was said that the humans had not simply repaired the transport ship. They had tested it. They returned it not out of mercy, but as a message, a quiet warning of what they could do if they wished. Whether the rumor was true or false, it spread faster than light. And soon the galaxy understood a truth that could not be ignored. The border of human space was not only a line of silence, it was a line of power. A line guarded not by fear alone, but by choice. And the more the humans refused to explain, the more the galaxy wondered what secrets were hidden behind that line, and why those secrets were kept from all. The galaxy watched and waited. Rumors had grown into fears, whispers into arguments. Every species knew one truth above all else. Human space was untouchable. No one could explain it, and no one dared test it. The humans had not attacked, but their power had been shown in ways no one could measure. The repaired transport ship was proof. The last expedition was proof. And now the galaxy was beginning to understand that silence itself could be a weapon. At the border, alien patrols kept their stations close. Scanners scanned endlessly, but no signal returned from deep within human space. Ships waited in formation, ready to respond if anything appeared. Commanders sent reports to their home worlds, carefully avoiding speculation. Every officer remembered the story of the last expedition, and no one wanted to repeat history. Yet even as fear spread, curiosity burned brighter. Scientists debated whether the humans had found a natural advantage, a hidden energy source, or something beyond technology. Soldiers wondered if the humans could defend themselves with devices that made fleets invisible or weapons that could destroy planets. Traders wondered if the humans could control trade routes, making or breaking economies with a gesture. The border had become more than a line. It had become a mystery. Then, one day, the unexpected happened. A lone scout from a younger species drifted into human space by accident. Its navigation systems had failed, leaving it at the mercy of the stars. The crew panicked, expecting destruction. The memory of the last expedition was fresh in their minds. They knew no ship had ever returned without help. Instead of attack, they found a human vessel waiting. It appeared silently, larger than anything they had seen, sleek and strong. Lights glowed softly, not aggressive, but commanding. The scout crew froze as the human ship moved alongside them, scanning quietly, observing. No weapons were fired. No voice spoke over the comms. The humans simply hovered, a presence that filled the void. The scout crew realized something immediately. The humans did not need to speak or fight to show strength. Their presence alone demanded respect. Every sensor, every system on the scout vessel seemed to hum in recognition of it. Instruments malfunctioned briefly, readings became unreliable, and the crew felt the weight of something vast, something beyond their understanding. Hours later, the scout systems returned to normal, and the human vessel gently guided them back toward the border. No harm was done, but the crew knew they had witnessed a demonstration of power unlike any they had imagined. They returned to their home world in silence, their fear now mingled with awe. When they spoke, their words spread quickly. The humans do not need to fight, they said. They do not need to warn. Their strength is quiet. It moves like the stars themselves, patient and unstoppable. Across the galaxy, the story traveled fast. Species who had once debated invasion now reconsidered. Fleets that had been prepared for war returned to their bases. Councils that had demanded answers now hesitated. Even the ambitious seller paused before speaking, realizing that no speech, no argument could match the silent power of humanity. The humans themselves remained calm. Envoys came to the council chambers, observing, listening, and leaving. When asked about the scout vessel, they gave the same answer they always gave. It was guided safely, nothing more. No pride, no boast, no threat. Just quiet action, and the galaxy understood far more than words could convey. For the first time, the galaxy began to see a pattern. Humans did not show power through conquest. They did not demand obedience. They acted only when necessary, and when they acted, their choices shaped entire worlds without firing a shot. Silence was their shield. Observation was their weapon. Patience was their strategy. Whispers turned into respect, and respect grew into caution. The younger species learned a lesson the hard way. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it waits, watches, and only reveals itself when the moment is right. And the humans watch too. From deep within human space, they observed the galaxy with quiet focus. They did not seek conflict. They did not seek war. Yet they were ready for anything, for every fleet commander, every curious mind that might step too close. The border had never been a barrier of walls or mines or fleets. It was a border of human choice. And the galaxy now understood what the choice meant. Enter only at your own risk, or do not enter at all. The silence of human space had become more than a mystery. It had become a statement that humans were strong, patient, and far beyond the understanding of any who had tried to cross them. The galaxy had seen the silent strength, and it would never forget it. The galaxy held its breath. Years of rumors, fears, and speculation had led to this moment. Every species knew the truth that words could not describe. Human space was not simply a territory. It was a line of will, strength, and quiet judgment. No one could predict what lay beyond, and every species felt the weight of that unknown. Councils met in secret chambers. Fleet admirals gathered quietly, discussing possibilities and risks. Traders and scholars debated what action would be wise. Everyone understood the stakes. The humans had shown patience, restraint, and unimaginable capability. They had repaired ships, guided the lost, and tested the limits of the galaxy without firing a weapon. Yet the message was clear. Any aggression against them would not be met lightly. Seller, always the voice of ambition, stood in the council hall and addressed the assembly. We cannot ignore human space any longer. Our scouts have seen their vessels. Our scientists speak of their technology. But still they act as if we do not exist. If we wish to advance, if we wish to survive, we must challenge the silence. We must demand access and answers. A calm voice interrupted. It came from Luma, an elder from one of the older species. You speak as though action will bring knowledge. But the humans do not give answers to those who demand. They show respect to those who wait and act wisely. To challenge them without understanding is to invite disaster. Seller hesitated, but pride would not allow silence. We cannot wait forever, she replied. The galaxy cannot be stalled by patience. If we do not act, others will. If we do not push, we will be left behind. Luma shook their head. And yet, pushing without reason has left others in ruin. Do you not remember the last expedition? Do you not remember the transport ship that returned only after humans chose to save it? Power is not measured by force alone. Humans have shown it in ways few can see. Do you think we can match that? The room fell quiet. Every species understood what Luma meant. Humans had made a choice. They had chosen to repair a vessel instead of destroying it. They had guided a lost scout instead of punishing it. They had watched and waited, allowing the galaxy to act as it would. Every step of restraint was a demonstration of strength, far beyond what fleets and weapons could show. The debate continued for hours. Some argued for fleets, others for diplomacy, and a few suggested complete withdrawal. In the end, the decision was not made in a chamber, but in the hearts of the galaxy itself. Humans had not forced respect. They had earned it silently, patiently, and powerfully. Meanwhile, deep within human space, their leaders observed the galaxy. They did not celebrate fear, nor did they seek to dominate. They understood curiosity, ambition, and caution. They saw the choices the other species would make, and they allowed the galaxy to decide its own path. Their power needed no proclamation. Their silence spoke louder than words, louder than fleets, louder than fear. The galaxy's fleets began to withdraw one by one. Patrols relaxed their formations. Councils admitted that forcing action against the humans was unwise. Even Seller, proud and ambitious, recognized the truth in silence. Humans had proven their strength without firing a shot. The galaxy had made its choice: to respect the line, to honor the unknown, and to recognize that some power is beyond challenge. Trade resumed near the borders, but always with caution. Scholars recorded everything they could, hoping to understand the humans through observation rather than confrontation. Children learned of the silent strength, and stories spread of patience, power, and restraint. Every world began to teach the lesson humans had shown, that true strength does not always roar, and that some choices are measured by wisdom, not weapons. In quiet moments, humans looked out from their stations in ships. They did not celebrate victory, because victory had never been their goal. They had chosen restraint. They had acted with care. They had shown the galaxy that the measure of a species is not in conquest, but in choice. And the galaxy remembered. Human space remained a line in the stars, but it became more than a border. It became a lesson. The lesson was clear to all who looked toward it. Power could be patient, strength could be silent, and wisdom could shape the destiny of many without a single battle. The story of the transport ship, the last expedition, and the lost scout became legend. Generations spoke of humans with awe and respect. They told of a species that could rebuild, guide, and protect, yet never sought unnecessary war. They told of patience that commanded respect, and silence that inspired understanding. The galaxy had made its choice. It would not challenge human space. It would not force the unknown. It would watch, learn, and grow under the quiet example humans had set. The border was not just a line. It was a promise that a species could be strong, wise, and honorable all at once. And in that choice, the humans had already won.